Instagram releases details about how its algorithm works. Apple announces multiple new updates to its software in its worldwide developer conference. YouTube rolls out new tools that could detect and stop copyright violations. All this and much more coming up in this week's edition of the Connected Church News. Welcome, I am Natchi Lazarus, and this is a show that brings you the top 5 digital and social media news each week in less than 5 minutes. Let's get started. Our first big news of this week is from Apple. Last week, Apple held its worldwide developer conference. WWDC is one of the main events, and this year they had multiple announcements about their Mac OS, the operating system of their computer, iPad OS, Watch OS, and all the other operating systems. But one of the main things that got my attention is the importance and the stress they are giving to the Apple FaceTime and messaging. If you've been following us, you know how much we talk about the strategic importance of private messaging. And when companies like Apple focus on that space and they talk so much about the features they are bringing to make interpersonal communication, private messaging much more easy, then you know how important that is. So as a non-profit ministry, think about your private messaging strategy, because it looks like that's the direction everything is going on. Have you subscribed to our channel yet? If you've not done so already, I highly recommend you take a minute to subscribe and also click that bell notification so that you can always stay on top of the top news in the digital and social media space. Thank you. Now let's get back to our news item. Our next news is about Instagram. Have you ever wondered how to crack the Instagram algorithm or how Instagram works? Then this news that I'm going to share with you is going to be very helpful for you, because last week the head of Instagram released details about how Instagram works. He talked about the algorithm and the details that they look at while determining what posts do well on Instagram, how each post reaches people, and so on. So first interesting thing is he mentioned that Instagram does not have one algorithm, but it has multiple algorithms and multiple processes. So there's a little bit of definition, and then he goes on to talk about some of the factors that influence how posts do. First is information about the post, then information about the person who posted it, the activity of the person, and also the history of interacting with others, and so on. So very interesting article, and he says this is one of the first to come out of a series of posts that are going to talk about how Instagram works. Our next news is about YouTube. Last week, YouTube released an important tool that could detect and stop copyright violations. If you find a copyright violation and if you lodge a claim with YouTube, now you have the option to select a tick box that says prevent other people from uploading copies of this particular video on YouTube in the future. So that means you're not only claiming that particular copyright violation, but you're also saying don't let others make more copies, so that then you'll have to keep doing that in the future. So this has been one of the problems in the past in the platform, and YouTube is trying to address that, which is great. And also YouTube says that to make people, to avoid people misusing this, if anyone files a false claim, then YouTube will actually remove this particular feature from their channel, and eventually even the channel being banned. So that way people won't misuse this. And YouTube is also saying they're working on improving the process of copyright claims. They are bringing in a couple of new features and so on. So I will link to this details in the show notes. Do have a look. Our next news is from Google. Last week, Google released details about the new updates in Google Analytics 4, which is based on privacy related settings that people are starting to get on their mobile devices. Many of you know that companies like Apple are now giving option to people not to track their online behavior. Now, most of the, in this marketing scenario, most of you in the media team in nonprofits and churches used Google Analytics to find out how people behave online, so that you can serve them meaningfully in your next online campaign or the products that you create on website or mobile app or anything, right? That's how you use it. Now, you're not going to have that data, which is in a way good, because going forward privacy is the best way to approach anything. So but it also leaves you with an option where you don't have access to that data. So what do? How do you predict people's behavior? How do you make decisions without having that real data? Now Google is saying in Google Analytics 4, they are giving you the option to access new modeled data, which means they will pick up older data, and they will also pick up certain other signals, and they will build a model for you, and that model data will fill in the gaps in Google Analytics and still try to help you make meaningful decisions. Our final news of this week is an important one from the Messenger team. Last week, Facebook Messenger team announced that they are releasing 3 important features. The first and the most important of them all is the release of the QR code and payment link facility that allows you to send and receive money from anyone, even if they are not on Facebook. So that's a big one. Apart from that, they're also releasing chat themes and a quick reply bar, which could also be very helpful for the future. So I will link to all these 3 details in the show notes. Do have a look. That's all I have for you this week. But if you have any questions or thoughts or feedback, or you want more details about something that we talked about, because we only talk about for 5 minutes, you can leave your comments and we will make sure you get more information. Whether you need more links or resources or whatever related to any of the stories, then make sure you let us know and we will find the answers for you. I'll see you next week with another set of news items. Until then, you stay connected, stay blessed. God bless you. Bye-bye.